We're starting in 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, so I have the, do you want to start right into it? Because I have the logo up, and as soon as I switch it over, we can just begin.
Let's do it.
We're rolling. I shouldn't have said that. Well, I guess you can edit it in. We've already ruined it. We had the great logo up, the brand new logo, and now I don't know if you can see it. I can see it on the master screen. That
yes,
there's the small logo below us for right now. We'll figure out where that belongs, but great job on the logo artwork. Who did that?
Thank you. Very talented young artist named his name's Kennedy. You can find him and all his stuff on Instagram at the KPCO. He does a lot of cool stuff, and he's also a musician, just a super talented guy. I just find that all these people that can do these incredible things are always the most humble. Do you find that, Frank?
No, I consider myself an incredible artist, and the answer is no.
Well, you're a brilliant man. Everybody, the world needs to know.
I think there are. Listen, I think there are some types. I think there are different types that some people fit into that, and some people don't in the artistic type. The people who haven't made it yet, maybe, are the ones who are a lot more humble than the ones who've made a bunch of money. And once they've made some money doing their art, there is some business to it, but not all. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who definitely that's their thing. They're artists first, and they will always be that way, and they'll always have a humbleness to them, or at least they appear that way on the outside. And then there are the people who just are like me.
All right, man. Well, Frank, I gotta know, man. Talk to me. Yesterday was the Super Bowl. Spoiler alert: the Patriots won. What are your thoughts?
In terms of just a football game for somebody, listen, there are different people who watch the Super Bowl, right? There are people who are fans of football all year round, that from the beginning of whenever they started watching football as a kid or whenever, and they watch all the games. They have the NFL game package on DirecTV or some other thing there, or they're watching Red Zone. And for those people, I think the game was probably fine. It was a defensive struggle, or an offensive struggle because of great defenses. In terms of that, it was a close game, but I never felt anxious really or excited during the game. And if I did, it was very little. So I like offense. I don't like too much offense. I don't like arena football where it seems that they're just constantly scoring. And that was the way the beginning of the NFL season was. I like to feel like the defense can stop people, but I felt like the offenses were anemic. They couldn't do anything at all yesterday, especially at the beginning. So it felt kind of boring because I think most of us watch for offense. You remember the offensive plays, and even on defense, the really big plays that you remember are the interceptions, because they've taken away a lot of the tackling, right? The big tackles, the things we used to celebrate in tackling used to be the massive hits and stuff. And now, for safety reasons, I'm complaining and not complaining at the same time, because I do understand why they're trying to make the game safer. But it's definitely not as fun, and the caveman in me is like, it's not as much fun. So that's why we like to see offense, because you can still be crazy on offense. Defense, they've hindered you, handcuffed you, and on offense, you're allowed to do just about anything.
Right. I mean, well, we saw this same kind of thing in the NBA. You know, there's no more hand checking. And for anybody that doesn't know what that is, back in the day, you used to just be able to kind of shove a guy around, like the guy that you were guarding, the guy that had the ball. You could just kind of put your hand on his hip and kind of control where he went. And since that's gone away, I mean, I think we have seen, you look at the scores now, you look at the NBA game, and it's 140 to 127. And a lot of it is because they do make rules, because people like offense. What do they say in baseball? Chicks dig the long ball. They do things to make it appealing to everybody. And I think only the football junkies like yourself and myself really appreciate a 13-3 game. Or
did you like that 13-3 game?
Like you said, there was not that many moments where you thought something was going to happen, or you were kind of like everybody got quiet and was focused on the TV. It was like the equivalent of if you took the Super Bowl and made it dentist office music. It was just kind of on in the back.
Yes, it was 80s, 90s football, wasn't it? It seemed like without the hitting, but it was smash mouth Chicago Bears run up the middle football, and the pass plays seemed few and far in between. And even when they did, they weren't long passes. They were just short passes that almost worked like running game would to just open up the field a little bit more. So I don't know. I think there's so much hype around the Super Bowl, and there's 2 weeks that you're waiting for it to happen. Yeah. That I don't know if we have the attention span anymore to have that exciting of a game. I guess we did the last couple of years. They were exciting. So that theory I was about to throw out there was wrong. I caught myself because they were exciting games. So I just think I'd just like to see a little more offense. I'd like to see scores in the 20s to 30s probably. And then I'd feel like I just kept feeling like I was getting gypped. Like there wasn't that much to the game. I kept going, punt again? Really? Punt? And they had to. There was nothing they could do. So hats off to the defenses, but I do like to see some offense.
I completely agree with that. Now, with that, it kind of, me, I'm watching the game, but I'm always thinking about just things that we could do to tweak it. And so my first question, I didn't even text you with this during the game, even though I wanted to. I was like, save it, save it, save it.
Yeah.
Today, 17 million Americans called out of work with sickness. So I'm asking you, Frank, why don't we just do the damn Super Bowl on Saturday?
Well, I think you did send me something about that. Earlier today you did. And yes. I thought it was ridiculous that you would even suggest it.
Oh, thank you.
I really did. I thought it was completely insane that you would even suggest it. And that was on the screen. And now it doesn't sound that stupid to me.
Because we do the championship games on Saturdays.
Well, football, no. The college football plays on a Monday night.
Right. I meant the conference championship.
They play on Sunday. They just play earlier. The way to do it, and that theory that for people not to call in sick for work, is do the game earlier. It's not like the ratings are going to suffer that much, although on the West Coast you might be starting around noon. I think here it started in Arizona. It started around 4:30, so 3:30 in LA. That's still pretty early, but I don't know. There's got to be a reason that they aren't playing on Saturday. Probably it's known as Super Bowl Sunday. To turn it into Super Bowl Saturday, there'll be a lot of people missing the game one year.
Yes, that would happen. But my question, it's, I think about, we are men of a certain age. I lived on the East Coast for total about 15 years, lived in New York for 5 and Miami for 10. And I honestly, I feel for guys like myself that, if that game starts at 8 and you've got to be at work at 7:30, the game's not over and people don't clear out of your house until midnight.
Well, game starts on the East Coast at 6:30, right?
It's 6:30? Okay.
6:30, and they're probably done. The game was over around 8 here, so 10 there. And people hang around for a little bit. Yeah, but we're adults. We should be able to get to work the next day, right?
Well, apparently 17 million of us are not adults.
Out of 300 million? But
yeah.
Well, how many weren't going to show up in the first place? That's another question.
It's like, well, if I had a job, I wouldn't go in. No, I think, they said 100 million people watch it. So if you think about it like that, that's a fifth of the people that watch the game do not make it to work the next day.
But maybe there was a flu outbreak. Maybe there's a flu outbreak in a region, in a sample area, and it just so happened to coincide. No, I know what you're saying. A lot of people do, because I think of that like it feels like a holiday. Super Bowl Sunday does feel like a holiday.
It really does.
I kept saying to myself, the kids have to go to school tomorrow. I said that 3 or 4 times during the day as my wife prepared every food. I mean, people brought over these incredible dishes that they'd made, sausage, cheese, queso dip that wasn't even a dip. It was just a slop that you put on
It's just cheese. It's just freaking cheese, and I love it.
Eat it out of a bowl like a dog. It was incredible. But then Michelle, my wife, then she had all this stuff out there, incredible desserts, incredible different brats and things like that. And then she started making a Sam's Club pizza. I was like, what are you doing? Nobody's going to eat the Sam's Club pizza. Not that there's anything really wrong with this, but everybody made these homemade things. Don't worry about that. Then she goes, well, then we're probably not going to eat all these TGI Fridays frozen things. No, there's no need for them. There's pulled pork. There's everything everywhere. So why do you even? And we had enough food for 500 people, and there were 12 people here. It was ridiculous.
There's a thing with everybody that throws a party that you're going to run out of something. And even if you do, it's not the end of the world. But I know when I throw parties, I act like it is. So I have enough ice to take a dead body from here to New York City. Like, it's just, I don't know why I overdo everything, but there is something, you don't want it to be the third quarter and your guests are like, so you don't have any cups left? And I'm like, I'm not a real person. I'm sorry.
We had a better chance of running out of oxygen. We did. There was so much food. It was unbelievable. It was a smorgasbord. Everything was everywhere. It couldn't fit on one counter, so it went into other rooms. It was as though the old country buffet like had added another wing. That's what it was like. You go to one area, you go to another. It wasn't even dessert. There were multiple dessert sections.
I'm just sad I wasn't there to partake.
Yeah.
I went to my coworker's party. She had it catered. It was to the nines. You ever go to somebody's party and you're like, well, I can't throw a party next year until I get myself together. Like, she had like people in uniforms there. I was like, oh, okay. I was just going to hand you stuff. I was going to hand you a red Solo cup when you walked in my house,
and they were military uniforms. That's how well they salute as you come in.
It's and I was watching the game, and obviously halftime was what it was, and I was thinking about this.
But you liked the halftime show, right?
I thought it was fine.
Okay, but you texted me saying you thought it was the best halftime show ever, and I can't tell when you're joking over text because you don't send me enough emojical magic.
That was a little tongue in cheek. I feel like Prince playing in the rain was the best one ever.
Okay,
I thought that was
because that's what I suggested to you, and then I said better than Prince, and you're like absolutely, and then I sent you that article that I saw where they were just ripping. I didn't think. Listen, I wasn't ripping it to shreds. I thought it was fine. I think there's only so much you can do at a Super Bowl where you have to appeal to 100 million people of every
walk of life. Yeah,
walk of life. Yeah, so. You can't be specific. You can't be super hip at the Super Bowl halftime show because that's not who's watching. That's 10%. And you've got to hit up. You want to sell albums and you want to be known. You're just trying to do something decent. And what the people in LA and New York like is not what everybody else is going to, for the most part, is not going to like. Even me, the average person in Arizona going, yeah, it's fine. I mean, I've seen some where I'm going, what is happening? I didn't say that at all although I did make a joke when Big Boy was up there and they kept bleeping out. I go, something's wrong with my audio.
Something's very right with your audio. I was just surprised that they used that song that had that many questionable lyrics. You would think that you would take up part of a song, but I mean, I guess you have to take the most popular verse, which is what Travis Scott did, but that verse is almost unairable. So then what's the point? If you're like, this is a really great verse, if you could hear it, you would love it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know music. I don't know. I'm calling Maroon 5 Burgundy 5 up until the last second. I don't know enough. I'm definitely not hip on the music scene, as you can tell by me saying I'm not hip on the music scene.
That's a dead giveaway.
Right there.
You're one step away from saying I don't know what the kids are listening to.
I'm pretty much there, but just not saying it. So I thought it was good. It was entertaining. It wasn't awful, any part of it. Like, again, I've seen halftime shows where I'm going, why are they? No, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah. There were no, let's go to the bathroom time. You know what I was thinking about is, and this is, it kind of leads into the question that I have for you about halftime. Do you remember the lingerie bowl? And could it happen? Could they still do that in today's climate? Because if you ever watched it, those women were hitting each other. Like, it wasn't just kind of like a way to show a little TNA. Those girls are really hitting each other.
Could they do that today? I remember the essence, if you will, of the lingerie bowl. I don't remember them. I don't remember them. I just remember staring. No. Could they do that today with the hitting or just the look? You mean with the fact that they're in lace underwear?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Was that supported by the NFL at the time, or was that on a side network or something?
I think it was wasn't that on the Playboy channel, which is now defunct?
I'm sure on some type of channel like that you could do it. People would complain, but you're welcome to do. If they're good players, I mean, who might have take that away from them?
There you go. Way to be a stand-up guy, Frank. I'm willing to watch and support.
Yeah.
And then take my laptop to the bathroom.
Yeah, I think it would get a lot of, I remember getting some negative coverage. It would get hugely probably negative coverage. But that's that hypocrisy of everything. Be proud of your body, isn't it? Be proud of your body, dress as you'd like. But then when people start oogling, it's wrong. So I don't know. I don't think it would be a good move by anybody to do right now, but it would probably get a great rating by somebody, and then advertisers would be protested, and there'd be all sorts of publicity around it negatively, and maybe even some positive, and somebody'd make some money on it.
You know what's weird is you can send a Victoria's Secret catalog to somebody's home, not just a regular catalog. That's fine, but if the women in that catalog are playing football, that's not fine.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think?
I think that we are, and I think there's a lot of reasons to back this up. We are in a hyper-reactive place in our society in which we're very diligent about making sure that women are portrayed correctly, because for years it didn't go that way, and they were exploited, and they were used to be, kind of mindless sex and cleaning robots. And so I think anything that conjures up those images of days past is met with the side eye.
Yeah, and the Victoria's Secret catalog is the first intent, right, is to sell underwear, supposedly. The first intent, or the first, is the intent the right word? But yes. The intent with the lingerie bowl is probably not to sell underwear. So that's,
but it's probably to sell something. It's to
sell sex, right?
Right, but they're advertisers, so their job is to keep your eyeballs on what they're doing, so they can sell you something. I mean, I think that's the same with the NFL.
But does anybody watch the lingerie bowl and go, we really need some more of that? We need that under. Boy, she really cracked her there. But take a look at that garter belt.
I think it's a strange thing, but I think the idea of men, for lack of a better term, cat fight is a thing. And you kind of brought something up that leads me to my next question about hypocrisy. I saw that Adam Levine, obviously the lead singer of Maroon 5, was made fun of for his clothing. He was made fun of for his tattoos, and he was chastised for taking his shirt off, saying that wasn't fair because Janet Jackson was disrobed against her will, and she was basically blacklisted from performing in Super Bowls anymore. So is it fair that Adam Levine could take his shirt off and Janet Jackson suffered the consequences that she did?
Don't backup dancers? I feel like the males always have their shirts off. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but you see guys in locker rooms. I mean, is it a hypocritical thing we have in society already? I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't understand. I think it's probably good sometimes that some of the women are covered up because most guys are so, that I guess you'd call it toxic masculinity or something.
Yes.
They'd say a lot of things. But I don't know. It's the way things have been for the longest time. Does that make it right? I don't know, but it doesn't bother me in any way, shape, or form. Is it a hypocritical thing? I guess. Your thoughts?
I thought it was. I mean, you hit it on the head, and I really kind of hadn't even thought about it. But we are in this huge anti-body shaming. Be big and beautiful, be skinny and proud. And Adam Levine takes his shirt off, and people are immediately making fun of his tattoos. And I'm just like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I felt like he was body shamed. And I think that if that was a woman, I think that she would have been well within her rights, and her fans would have been within their rights to call it out.
Yeah, I don't. There's a lot of hypocrisy in this world in terms of male and female. So the shirt off. I actually tweeted out because I was just being a jackass yesterday, and with lots of tweets because it's so many people. I was sick to my stomach with some of the stuff I was tweeting out, but I said as soon as the shirt came off, I was like, wardrobe malfunction. It was the first thing. It was the first thing that I thought of. I mean, it hit me, and I thought some type of hypocrisy, but that's the way. That's the world. That's the way we look at things in the United States, anyways. Right? Right or wrong. That is the way it is. I'm not a tattoo person. Are you a tattoo person?
No, that doesn't really. I have one. I just have my grandmother's name on my right bicep, but that's it. And everybody's like, "You're gonna get another one." I was like, "I got that in 1998 and haven't ever thought about getting another tattoo since."
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, it's just not an appealing thing to me. But I'm not a big person on plastic surgery or anything like that, and that's just me personally. But I think people have the rights to do whatever they want. But that was just in terms of the body shaming and stuff. I don't know. If you're shaming Adam Levine on his body and his, then I got a lot of bigger problems.
Yeah, I just think it all comes down to like guys just don't care about stuff like that. I think the best case scenario is guys, we kind of don't care about stuff with Adam Levine, but we can also be conscious of like, because I'm telling you, sitting, like I've said this before, sitting next to women for hours and hours a day and talking about these things, it really opened my eyes in terms of the stuff that they go through, the things that are said to them, things that you and I just never have to deal with, except maybe like your buddies be like, "Hey, Frank, you're getting a little belly there," but it's not, you don't get it constantly from your mom, your aunt, guys walking down the street, people tweeting you. Like the things people say to my friends on the internet are just unbelievable. So I definitely understand where it comes from, but I think I'll be in your camp and that I will continue to not think about
it. Great that we button that one up.
Yeah. Well, it was, I told you I had an immigration question for you, and I know that's kind
From
of
Super Bowl to immigration question.
We shake it up here, Frank.
Yeah,
yes.
That was a pretty quick, that was a jolting segue. You did tell me that though, and I was like, what are you trying to get me into here?
Well, it kind of does. I'm going to loosely correlate it with the Super Bowl in that
of course
this guy is also, I believe, an Atlanta rapper. I'm sure you're familiar with the rapper 21 Savage.
Oh, tremendous.
What do you think about his work?
Oh, it's he really he takes the hip to the hop.
Well, I know you're a huge fan of his, so this is really going to disappoint you.
Do you know? Have you known this fella for a long time, or is he new to you, or is he?
No. I know his. I am familiar with his work. I like some of his songs, and a lot of people he's famous. He's a very famous rapper.
Okay, my son would probably know who he is.
Yes, your son would know. And he apparently was in in the UK and got caught over there. And then it was. Have you seen this? That
I heard a little bit about this, but continue.
Right. It was found out that he's in the U.S. illegally, and I believe he is a citizen of England, I believe, or somewhere like that. So they're talking about ICE is talking about deporting him. And my question to you is, as I looked this up, 21 Savage is worth $8 million. That's according to his net worth. How accurate those things are, who knows? But he does perform a lot. He makes a lot of money, and he then therefore pays taxes.
That's a good point.
Pays a lot of taxes. And my question to you is, obviously rules are for everybody, but is there an exception, or should an exception be made, or should every possible break be given to somebody that's paid into the system? He has probably paid more taxes in his young career than most people's families will in their lifetime.
But why, first of all, does he not have the proper paperwork? Because I know whenever I go to a different country, I have to, it's a pain. It's just, it's so much trouble to go, even to work in Canada. It's brutal.
Oh, yeah.
You have to fill out so many forms. You have to worry about when you're going through customs, the questions. It's just tense. They're going to ask you questions. Are you here for business or fun? It's, you don't lie to them. You tell them the truth, and you have to have all that paperwork figured out in advance. So where was he?
He was not in the United States. He was overseas. I believe he was in England, but I will let me check on that and make sure.
So he was in England, but ICE here is going after him?
Yes, because I guess the two communicated with each other too.
But why would ICE here be worried about somebody over in another country right now? That seems odd to me. I don't understand where it even comes together. Because ICE seems to
I guess it says here that he has a visa, but he overstayed it, which I think that it says he's been arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It says he's actually a U.K. citizen who overstayed his visa and now faces deportation. He's quite popular. And do you think that laws are laws, or do you think that you can make the argument that 21 Savage has come over here and as an immigrant, or however you want to put it?
He's not an immigrant, though. He's just working here, right? He's just working here, but paying into the system. I get it.
Right.
So he's just coming over and performing and then going back.
I believe he's based here.
Oh, he is?
Yes, he's based here.
Well, then he should make sure his
Atlanta.
paperwork is okay.
One would think. But he's got several face tattoos, so I think he might have other things on his.
It's pretty easily identified as the. I don't know. I mean, yes, he's paying into the system, but if he's making that much money, shouldn't you have somebody to make sure that that stuff is taken care of at the same time? Is it right? I don't know. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it a little bit, and then maybe.
Well, I've always been on the I've always said that I feel like LeBron James, who's on his way to being a billionaire, is underpaid because of all the people that eat off of his back. When LeBron James 41 nights a year, he goes on the road, and whatever city he's in, he completely invigorates the financial epicenter of that downtown. Businesses and bars are booming. Hotels are sold out. Lifts are surging. After parties. Alcohol sales, all of these things are based on parking lots. Any business that you own, if LeBron James is in town, and to a much lesser extent, if 21 Savage is doing a concert, you are directly benefiting from that. If you own a parking lot and it's packed on a freaking Wednesday night in Charlotte, North Carolina, because of LeBron James, I think it would be disingenuous to then turn around and say, well, yeah, but he's breaking the law. It's like, well, you can say that after you've profited, because if you do believe that he should be put out or not paid what he's paid, then you should also have to give back, I believe, the benefits that you reap from this.
So in terms of that, let me just play devil's advocate on this.
Please.
So then he gets privilege for making money and making people money, as opposed to somebody who didn't. That's the other side of it, right?
That's the other side of it. And as ugly as that sounds, I mean, I know that we want fair, but we are not in a communist / socialistic society. I mean, this is a capitalistic society, and people did capitalize on his person, his likeness. People that sell T-shirts, people that sell Tide, everything. Everybody is making money off of this.
Is this a publicity thing too? Not on his end, but on ICE's side, maybe?
I definitely thought it was.
Not ISIS, ICE apostrophe S. It seems like an odd thing that they're going after somebody. To me, it seems like this could have been handled a lot better. Would you agree?
I would completely agree with that. And I think you're right.
I think that's a fair statement. I think to handle it better, it just seems like there could have been a better way of going about it rather than threatening deportation, which the deportation thing is the thing that really sounds, I don't know what that means. I know you're going to be sent home, but he could probably, if he could fly home on a private jet rather than being rounded up like cattle and sent back, or if there's a specific way you need to get sent back or something like that. I don't know. But to me, it seems odd. It seems possibly political, and I think that could be handled a whole lot. But I know if I'm in his spot and I've overstayed my visa, I'm scared and worried and wondering why somebody's coming after me like that. It doesn't make sense to me. So I'm putting myself in his spot. But at the same time, I'm thinking, hey, if it's, what's going on, you really should take care of that visa and make sure that you're in the States legally. But like you said, he's contributing and doing a whole bunch. Why is he not a citizen too? There's a lot of different questions there that I don't know enough I don't even understand enough, but those are the questions that come to my mind.
Have you ever taken a citizenship test?
Oh, I'd fail.
I think a lot of people would fail.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people would fail. I think when something, I took a picture, I took a screenshot, well, not a screenshot, but a picture one time I got in this lift when I was in Vegas, and my driver, he had turned it down, but he was listening to his citizenship test, just practicing. And, I asked him to turn it up and I listened, and I didn't know the answers to a lot of these questions. And it's weird, the hurdles that we make people trying to come to this country jump through, but not the people that live here.
But again, in a way, we kind of take a lot of those citizenship tests throughout the years in all your grade school classes and middle school and high school. By the end, you've probably learned all that stuff and forgotten it, but you have gone to 12 years of school probably and learned the different things, whether it's the branches of government.
Right.
Yes, and stuff that you've just forgotten. And if I had to take a citizenship test to be in this country, I would study for it and make sure, or in another country, I believe I would as well if I really wanted to be there. Is it fair? It's different. I mean, because you talk about privilege. You're privileged to have been born here in the first place. You don't have to go through that then. So, but life isn't fair. That we keep coming to that. There's a lot of reality of that, and it's unfair to a lot of people in more unfair ways. I'm just circling back, but you know what I mean.
I can dig it. Well, I don't know if I told you, every 10 years you have to retake your driver's test. And this is in LA. I did it. And, started my first half of my career, I was a road comic. I've probably driven in 1.5 million miles across this country. And that's no hyperbole. And I came within one question of failing the driver's ed test. People were back there next to me cheating, adults. It was so embarrassing. We were all like, what you get in? But for anybody that wants to cheat, everybody's test is different, so you can't really do it. But yeah, it's you look, and when you drive, you literally don't think about it at all. Some people sleep drive on Ambien. That's how used to driving we all are. But I mean, the questions on the driver's ed test were just like, what degree, what should you do if you're parked on an incline during a fog storm, and when do you use your low beams? And
first of all, I want to know what a fog storm is.
Have you ever
a fog storm? By the way, is it as tough to see as your face behind the microphone right now on the screen? That was a fog storm. That you slowly have rotated your chair in a Bond villain manner to the point where I couldn't see your face anymore.
I want to whip around and be stroking a white cat as I talk to you.
No, yes, I know it's the wheels out and brake. I mean, there were certain questions. I always struggled with the alcohol questions because I never drank at all, so I didn't even pay attention to that really. And that was like 4 questions on the LA driver's test that I remember when I took it. My wife failed it, but she wore a low cut shirt, and the guy miscounted, and she got through.
No, I think he counted just fine.
2.
Exactly.
Lingerie bowl right there.
You missed 2, Mrs. 2 Caliendo. Yes, it's that's
Mrs. Caliendous.
Well, first of all, congrats to you. But yeah, it's a weird thing, the things that we do take for granted. And I've always thought about this. If I had a chance to do life over again, like let's say you live a full life and God says, hey, do you want to give it another shot? It's a complete crapshoot where you're born in the world. I don't know if I would do it. It just seems like a lot of places it's going to be unpleasant
to live instead of where we are now in the United States. Or
yes, if you're born a woman in the Congo or in North Korea, I mean, that's got to be this is not Frank and Allen, Denver and Arizona. This is you suffering hardships, beaten, abused. I don't know. I think the things that happen throughout the world, we're very much insulated from.
Absolutely. But I don't even know if we could fix them. There's so many things that are broken. And we take for granted our lives. I think every once in a while I think about that type of stuff, and then I move on.
Right.
You
do
tough.
though. I mean, it's not you. I mean, it's hard you can empathize, but I mean, what can Frank really do? I mean, and if it's just like, do you remember a couple years ago? I think it was like 3 years ago. ISIS just went to that village and took like 200 girls, and no one ever saw them again.
It's
like
scary.
What the? It's a rough one, and then you get a chance to sit back on your porch and watch your daughter jump on a trampoline.
Right.
It's it's just a strange. Life is weird as F.
Well,
And
there are people who take it upon themselves to do certain things. Chris Long, Howie Long's son, who's on the Eagles now, he's getting water to people in I think a village or place in Africa, I think it is. He's doing. He won the humanitarian award. J.J. Watt gave it to him. It wasn't like J.J. Watt's award to give away. He won it last year, I think. So it's like the J.J. Watt award, which they could probably name it. But
J.J. Watt is a football player.
Yeah, there are people who try to do as much as they can, but can the average person? The average person can't do that much. You're worried about yourself just getting through life, and yes, your life is easy. No matter how hard your life is in this country, it's probably not. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not as hard as, but the percentages are against you. It's probably not as hard as what you were talking about. A person from one of these countries that you don't even know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what happened to those girls. Nobody knows what's happening to people. There's no authorities no government that can really take care of it, or the government's part of the problem. So we're lucky. Yeah, but luck Well, I guess luck plays into it. If somebody's right with the karma thing and reincarnation, maybe we all go through all of it, and eventually at the end, you get to pick which life you want to come back. I don't know.
I'm gonna come back as you next life.
You think so? What if I'm not done with me yet?
You got to move over.
There's two.
It's gonna be like an old '80s movie.
I was gonna say
a white guy with a black soul.
You'd really taking the hip to the hop. What?
Well, I'm kind of curious now. If you had to pick a rapper to go see in concert, who would you pick?
The quick answer would have been Vanilla Ice, right? Really bad.
I bet you it's a fun, nostalgic concert, though. It's probably super fun.
You know, and I don't know anything about. I don't know anything about music. I really know nothing. It's that bad.
Well,
and
what was the last album you listened to?
I don't listen to anything. I don't listen.
Wow.
I just deeply think. I always listen to older classic rock kind of stuff, the 70s-ish Steve Miller Band. That's the stuff I grew up even listening to, even though it was before my time. But it was that kind of rock that I was into. Not even into. I've never listened to a lot of music.
So you're a sports radio guy?
Yeah, I think of that. I when I was driving around doing colleges all the time, what I would really do is talk to myself and work on impressions and voices most of the time. Yeah, there was some sports radio, but whatever. I'll listen to even talk radio sometimes. Sometimes agree with things, sometimes disagree. You know, listen to just get mad or listen to go, that's a good point. But I couldn't even tell you most of the time in the car. I don't even think I'm listening to music, and I'm probably thinking.
Can we do a spin-off podcast called Frank Drives in Silence? And we just record just you doing impressions in your car. I think that'd be.
I've thought about that as doing like that as a YouTube thing, just driving around, just doing voices. Jeff Goldblum, yes. Our gas station. Hello. I'm going to buy the premium.
I was going to ask if I was wondering if I could ask President Trump, what should football fans do now that the season is over?
Well, there's a lot of different things people could do, and there's a lot of tremendous, fantastic people out there, and there's a lot of bad people as well. And
it's always got to be that. It's always got to be.
So what was the question? What should people do? I think they should all get together and build a wall. I think that's the easiest thing. It'll save us a lot of money. And if we all build the wall, we won't have to worry about that fella from the UK trying to get into our country and pay taxes.
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, I've been having this discussion with my buddy Morgan Freeman,
and I was. Wait a second, you're friends with Morgan Freeman, but you're going to act it out here?
Yeah. Well, I'm asking you to do a Morgan Freeman in a roundabout way.
Yes. Okay, son.
All right. So I would just ask you, Morgan. Now that that football season's over, you know, I'm looking for some. You know, I got my wife was really good in terms of let me watch all season, not bothering me. So what should I do? Something romantic to show I appreciate her letting me have another wonderful football season.
Well, one thing I wouldn't do is build a wall. The next thing that I think I would possibly do is watch my newest show I narrate on National Geographic Channel. Not even sure what it is, but there was a commercial for it earlier today and reminded me that I could probably mention it right now. But as far as you and a lovely lady, I think what you should do is just enjoy yourselves. Just sit back, relax, and watch footage of last football season.
And build a wall.
I said no, sonny. There's no walls being built.
Okay. I saw Shawshank. There were walls built.
And Morgan got out.
I did, sonny. Well, climbing through 500 yards of the filthiest, you know what I'm talking about. I was bleeped out like a rapper on a halftime show right there.
I would just say it. I'm the president. I'll say whatever I want.
That is Shawshank the most rewatchable movie from any point in the movie that's out right now. I would put it up with that or Goodfellas in terms of whatever scene is on, I can watch it from that point.
Well, it's like It's a Wonderful Life during Christmas time, right? During the holiday time, that you just pick up and you just go. And I love that movie so much. So yeah, I think that's. It used to be on every day on either USA or TBS, one of those, or TNT, one of those cable networks. They used to run Shawshank Redemption constantly, but I haven't seen it for a while. But I would, if it's on, I'll watch it. It's just so well done.
All right, Frank. Now, we've been talking for a while, and I just wanted to kind of gauge your opinion. Speaking of things to be watched, are you super excited about the Beverly Hills 90210 reboot? And my second question, because I think I know the answer to that, is how do you feel about reboots? Are you over them? Or do you just like when you see a reboot, do you get any kind of excitement? You're like, oh, we're out of ideas.
I think there's a mix. It probably depends on the reboot. I don't know. I never watched 90210 in the first place, so I would have no excitement for that coming back. I don't know if it do anything culturally. It was kind of a primetime soap opera kind of deal, right? Wasn't it?
With grown-ups playing high school kids, yes. That was always really creepy to me.
Luke Perry, 35 years old or something at the time, playing a 18-year-old or something like that.
It's off-putting, yes.
Yeah, I don't mind reboots if there's some type of what's the word I'm looking for? Some type of new twist on it, I guess.
Right.
But I don't. I do have that in my mind at the same time of the why are we doing this? I don't know if I need. I'm just trying to think through it right now in terms of, like the all-female Ghostbusters didn't do anything for me. The Black Honeymooners, I didn't see. I didn't get. But maybe some people do. There doesn't seem like it's for me in the first place. I'm trying to think of a reboot that I have liked. Can you think of a reboot that you have liked?
Like a reboot that you have.
Well, okay, I'll give you one. Dark Knight, the reboot of the Batman series.
There you go.
100%. Totally glad they redid that. And it was an arc of 3 movies, incredibly well done, totally different types of movies than what the old Batman types of thing, the old Batman, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer kind of George Clooney stuff. So I think it can be fine, but I do start to feel like, hey, you come up with something new. It's the industry doing that, right? They're just looking for stuff with some familiarity.
Right. I mean, I think it comes down to, and I'd love for people to write in and tell me if they disagree. Look, man, there's 5 different kinds of shows you can have. You can have a lawyer-driven kind of show like Law and Order, cop show like The Shield, a firefighter show, and a medical drama. So do you want to try and have a cop show and just be like, we're going to call, Frank PD. And now you have to convince all of America to watch this and do a bunch of advertising? Or do you just reboot Magnum PI? Everybody knows what that is. The brand is already established and it's still a cop show. It's still a guy chasing bad guys, but now you don't have to be like, well, this is what this is. It's like, Magnum PI,
it really isn't,
what's going to happen.
I've only seen a little bit of Magnum PI, just the promos and stuff. It doesn't seem like the old Magnum PI though. Have you watched it at all? I don't feel like it's just the name and he drives a Ferrari. Other than that, it doesn't seem. Is TJ in there? No, he's got a black best friend. So that, yeah, I mean, can I be your black best friend in your reboot?
Yeah,
can you fly a helicopter?
I cannot. That would be a very short episode.
Well, you just can't land one. That's where we're at. There's so much in that. That's just awful.
Yes, and that's where the joy comes in.
Yeah, I don't know. I reboots in general, I don't mind. If it's good, if it's fun, sure. If it just seems like they're rebooting just to reboot, which seems like a lot of it, yeah, I could go without.
Well, that's it. I mean, and just to kind of put a cap on it, my thing with the reboots is I have to constantly remind myself that there are new people coming onto the planet every day. So a reboot to them, because remember, A Star Is Born was made, 50 years ago?
It's made a few times, right?
Yes.
And this one wasn't even really
it's my first time hearing of it. So,
right.
I mean, it's kind of like it's not a rerun if it's new to you.
Yeah, that's true. You got me there. Reboots, let's reboot everything.
Well, and it's funny because some work, it looks like Will and Grace, I think they're on their second season, but Murphy Brown came in to kind of like, and then, I don't know if anything that's political can really survive now, because you get it so much. Like, everybody's like telling me to watch The West Wing. I'm like, could The West Wing possibly be as dramatic as our real presidential situation?
Right. There's absolutely no way.
It couldn't be. You could never be this great. And there's actually a leak about the leaker. Can that even be? That's a double leaker.
That sounds like a website I subscribe to.
The double.
All right, now Frank, we gotta wrap it up in a little while, but I gotta ask you this question. It's kind of twofold. There's already been a Patriot, I believe his name is Dwayne Edmonds. I think that's wrong. Dwayne something. Hold on, let me look. But he has said
Dwayne Harmon
that Dwayne Harmon is not going to be visiting the White House. My question is really just this. If the Patriots go to the White House, does Trump have to serve them McDonald's?
Why? What? Just because of the college?
Right. Is it what's good for the goose is good for the gander?
But the college thing was done supposedly because the shutdown, the government shutdown, and they didn't have the chefs that were normally there to make stuff. Isn't that correct? So I don't know.
Yes, but I believe caterers are still working. He probably could have stepped it up, at least gone to Chick-fil-A.
There's probably too long of a line there. There's always a line at Chick-fil-A. No, I think you just whatever. And I don't have a problem with people not going to the White House if they don't agree with somebody politically, either any way, shape, or form. I still think that's kind of the championship team. I guess it's cool for the team if you want to go and agree politically, but it seems kind of odd nowadays because it is so politicized by anybody, whether you go, whether you don't go. And it seems like I'm never for any president and what do you call them? The opportunities, the picture opportunity. It just seems like everybody's used as background for something to look good. Hey, I'm with this team that won the national championship or that won the Super Bowl. I don't know. You?
I don't know. I think that would be a good way because if he did that, I think that it would be if he is attempting to humanize himself, which he does try to on occasion, and at least appeal to his base. I think especially because Brady and Belichick and Kraft are open, vocal supporters of him, I don't think they would be offended. And I think it would be a good way to say, like, see, look, I treat everybody the same. This is kind of a running joke that we're doing now.
There is something fun to that, but then you have to remember he'd also just get destroyed for doing it too. Like, can you believe he did this again? I don't want to say you can't win, but I actually have a question for you that I saw this weekend with everybody's so political, and I'm just looking for an honest answer on this. So I saw, and anybody who supports Donald Trump, in some people's eyes, are just written off as terrible people and whatever. And I think we've talked about this before. I think lots of people have different reasons for supporting different candidates, and it's their backstory that leads them to that. And I'm all for anybody that if they have a reason to believe in it, going and voting who they believe they should vote for. But Robert Kraft has been a big Trump guy, saying some good things about Trump, and I'm not saying that they were wrong. I'm just saying that he said some things, and usually that would be the type of thing where in the news they would go off on him, or somebody would be really mad at Robert Kraft. But then I saw a video of Cardi B dancing with Robert Kraft, right, and the Patriots, and I didn't see any backlash to that at all. And she had that big thing that she was doing about the healthcare and just.
I didn't know what you were going to say after big.
I would love to have ended the show right there because
that big old. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.
But she had that big thing about the healthcare thing and just ripping, I believe it was Trump to shreds. Did she get a pass on that? Isn't that normally? And I'm just asking I don't think a person should be ripped apart because we all run into all kinds of people all the time with different beliefs, and you should be able to get along, and I'm all for it. But it seems like if it were somebody else, maybe that person would be ripped to shreds.
Well, it's so interesting that you bring this up because, and I love this topic because, you know me, Frank, I'm always like, I want to have conversations that involve commas. I want to be able to have a duality of thought and be able to carry on two conversations and hold two thoughts in my mind at the same time. And Robert Kraft is exactly that. On paper, when you just look at him, he's an older white guy, super rich. He's always dressed like he runs a Cadillac dealership. He's obviously Trump guy, Belichick and Brady Trump guy.
Are they? I don't know if do they vote. I mean, I don't. I know they're
pretty vocal supporters, which is fine.
Yep.
Last time I checked, this is America, and you are allowed to support any candidate you want. So good on them for doing that. Wish them well. But Robert Kraft also, and another rapper that I'm sure you're not very familiar with, Meek Mill.
Oh, I do. I know Meek.
Yes, because of the obviously he was kind of held up as the example for everything that's wrong with the criminal justice system. I don't know, just to quickly familiarize our listeners, Meek Mill is a rapper from Philadelphia who got in trouble 10 years ago, and he was placed on 10 years probation in his 20s. They then, and again, think about all these different things. He had a black female judge that put him back in jail for probation violations. The three things that he was put back in jail for doing, one was he was on a video shoot and he popped a wheelie on a motorcycle. He was cited for reckless driving. The other thing was he broke up a fight that has been documented by the police, saying that he basically saved a guy's life that was getting his head kicked in. He was cited for that, and he was cited at he was doing his community service, and they went in and checked on him, and he was in the back he was given the order to fold aprons. So he was in the back folding aprons, and his probation officer said he should have been in the front serving food. So those three violations were to put him back in jail. His story got out, and one of his main supporters, Jay-Z, was there for him, Cardi B, and Robert freaking Kraft was one of the main people that brought awareness to this. And that's why he was on stage with Meek Mill. And Meek Mill in his last album, which was an incredible album, mentions Robert Kraft in a very praising way, saying, thank you so much. And I appreciate what you did. So it's like, again, that duality of thought. It's like, old rich white guy likes Trump, must die. But at the same time, he's also been very giving of his time and lending a spotlight to this issue of criminal justice reform. So I think that in a weird way, Robert Kraft is beloved in the hip hop community.
Right.
And so you would never think that the owner of the New England Patriots would be spoken of in such high terms. But Robert Kraft, Kim Kardashian, and even Trump got a lot of praise for him beginning the steps to criminal justice reform. So I do think that and maybe that's the past that you were talking about. Like, how did he get away with dancing with Cardi B or vice versa? Is Robert Kraft is considered? Black people drafted Robert Kraft. I'm sorry, he's ours now.
Well, it's good. I don't think there should be. I don't think it should even be a getaway situation where I think it's
right.
I think it's just people with different beliefs, and some of them cross over and work together. I find very few people in this world to be just terrible all the time. They might have something that you don't like, and thus you think. I remember that at Mad TV. There were certain people at Mad TV where people say that person's not funny at all. And they're like, why? The person's hilarious. And you find out, well, they were just kind of fighting for themselves. And maybe they got in a fight with somebody and somebody took something the wrong way. I'm trying to be very vague here so it doesn't get to be one specific person. But you just find out people just generalize you as a bad person based on one thing. And that's not the way it really works. You might have one belief that's different and a lot that are the same. It's better, I feel, to work on the stuff that crosses over and the stuff you can find that you can communicate on and compromise on, and then go from there. And then have the discussions about the stuff that you don't. But that just I found very interesting to see Cardi B with Robert Kraft, but as you're saying there's much more to the story, and I wasn't looking for a gotcha type of situation. I just was trying to understand.
I didn't take that.
No, I didn't think.
Yeah,
you did, but I just wanted to listen.
It's a strange optic. You're exactly right. It's a strange thing. You see this young female Dominican rapper that raps about being a stripper and everything, and her life now. And you have Meek Mill, who's a battle rapper and a trap house guy, and you have Robert Kraft, who basically gave us cheese. And yet they're all able to stay on the same stage.
Is he that Kraft? Is he that Kraft?
I think so. He's Kraft Foods, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't have to look that up. We'll have to. I thought that, and somebody told me I was wrong, but maybe they weren't. Maybe they weren't.
I would tell women that at the bar anyway. It'd be too long before. Yeah, I know we got to go.
Yeah,
but you know what I thought about with the internet and everything, and just the fact that everybody's got it on their phone now, is it must have just destroyed guys that had come up previous to that were just used to lying. If I'm sitting at a bar and I tell you I'm a pilot for American Airlines, the hell do you know? You can't. Well,
it destroyed the guy who had the girlfriend in another state. That he had the picture of in his wallet, but only got to talk to her once a month. But they were going out forever. It probably destroyed the guys that had two families. Have you ever heard of these guys? They have two whole families on different coasts. I thought that was insane. Johnny Cochran famously had two families. Yeah, well, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. Come on. Now we can end on that, right? We've had two where we could have ended. Yours was good, mine was brutal, but I loved it. It was a Johnny Cochran end. So, all right, alanfrank.com. We'd love to hear from you. I think our flagship shows are going to shift to the Tuesday. What's the word? I'm looking for a lot of words today, but they're going to come out on Tuesdays now, and we'll be doing a couple times a week. But the Tuesday mornings are the big one, and we have we didn't even get into this. We're going to get into this later too. Chris Spangle, a little bit of people talking to us and giving us some feedback on Chris Spangle, who is the libertarian fella from Indiana that we had a great talk with.
there's some more, some pros, some cons, and stuff that I'd like to talk about with you, and stuff that we even talked about that we can get back to.
I thought it was a fascinating conversation.
Oh yeah, and it is funny when he said, "If nobody talks, I'll talk." That was maybe my favorite moment, because I'm like, man, you can talk forever. It's unbelievable, but very knowledgeable guy and fantastic
And passionate.
Passionate, and we'll get into some of that too. The feedback, which we should have hit a couple weeks ago, but we're just so busy talking about ourselves again. So alanfrank.com and across all platforms. And then thanks again for the logo. Fantastic job on that. And we'll see you guys soon.
Love you, buddy.